Eldora has played host to many types of dirt racing, ranging from the 410 sprint cars to the pro late models from the world of Outlaws. Now it's time once again for the street stocks to showcase their incredible racing on the dirt. For the 5th season, it's time for the Dirt Street Stock Series hosted by the Bootleg Racing League here on the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Gary Weaver alongside DJ Clark. With me in the booth. Sean Ambrose is in the director's booth and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. The last time we were here at Eldora, we had an incredible 3-wide finish coming to the line, and we'll see if that can be replicated once again tonight. To do that, however, you first have to learn how to get around this track, and we'll show you just that with our GSRC lap guide.
Welcome to Charlotte. No, not the big oval that hosts the World 600 and the Roval. We're heading just a short walk off of Turn 4 to the dirt track. The only thing shared between the two is the name. The stadium-style facility, built in the year 2000, has nearly 14,000 seats and plays host to dirt lake models, modified sprint cars, even monster trucks, and the prestigious World of Outlaws World Finals. On iRacing,
welcome to the world's greatest dirt track, Eldora Speedway. Located in Rossburg, Ohio, northwest of Dayton, Eldora opened in 1954 and has been one of the premier dirt tracks in the country ever since. The half-mile clay oval, now owned by Hall of Fame driver Tony Stewart, is the perfect track to learn the ropes in any dirt car. It's versatile in its ability to host great racing across the board, including the winged and non-winged sprint cars, modifieds, and all 3 late models. And Eldora features fast and sweepy corners, a slight bend down the back straight, mainly attributed to a rounded-off corner exit in Turn 2. Now, like any good dirt track, the best drivers can adapt their style to many different lines depending on the track's condition at Eldora. Get a good run on the cushion, you'll be flying around the outside of the track. Be careful, don't jump the cushion in Turn 1. That wall is unforgiving. Around the bottom of the track, Turns 3 and 4 can be the more daunting corners, especially as the berm works its way down to the concrete wall. So who will join the likes of Stewart, Steve Kinzer, Donnie Schatz, and Scott Bloomquist, the other legends of dirt racing who have claimed victory here at Eldora? Let's find out. Enjoy the show.
And that is how we get around the Big E, as this is known here at Eldora. But to learn just that little bit more extra information, I'm going to hand it over to DJ Clark, who's got some information for us on Eldora. DJ?
Thanks, Gary. Eldora is one of the most iconic dirt tracks in the United States. This half-mile oval is home to World of Outlaws, as well as late model sprints, midgets, pretty much anything you want to throw at this track, it has seen it. As we said, it's a half-mile, 24 degrees of banking in the turns, 8 degrees of banking in the straights. It's fast, it's spectacular, and it is one of the few tracks where you are always going to see that high line playing into a lot of account, so it's going to be a good race to see as a way to start off for the Bootleg Racing Series this season.
And we'll see how they take around to this track this season for the first race as well. And well, let's get into our information for tonight's race, as well as the races for the rest of the season, as well as we'll also get to your previous championship in a few moments. But first off, it's round 1 of 11 here at the Dirt Street Stock Series. It's in, of course, all the Dirt Street Stocks. It's a heat race format, and we'll go into just a bit more detail in a few moments about that. But 20 cars will always make the feature for 40 laps, and everybody is all on the exact same setup. Race format going into tonight's going to be that, well, the qualifying will set the heats, which will have half of those, well, 6-car heats to be more specific, and well, that will be inverted entirely. At least the top 3, I believe, but we'll double check that momentarily. The B main as well will be set by qualifying, and the heats, so the drivers that don't advance from the heats, well, they will go into the B main. And Well, all these will count for points, qualifying heats, B main, and of course the feature event, where the leader does have lane choice on the main start and restarts, and the field will go on the leader.
That's right. The field will go on the leader, which always makes for an interesting choice. Out here, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of the guys on the restarts leading on to try to go on that outside line. And to answer your question, Gary, the full heat race is inverted. So if you qualify well, you're going to be qualifying back in 6th tonight for the heat races.
And there was one or the other at some point, but thanks for that on that double checking for the information. Currently, we have now 5 minutes left in the warm-up session for this afternoon. And, well, you may see a pretty familiar name at the very top of the list, and that is who we're looking at right now, the number 22 of Brendan Proudfoot, where, well, the last time we saw him on GSRC, well, last time I saw him on GSRC at least, it was with the Stone River Shootout Series, where he had won after dominating the entire race on strategy. So it's pretty great to see him here take to the dirt now as well, and so far seeing just how versatile his driving style is.
He is a versatile driver, and he is one heck of a driver. He's also made a couple of appearances in the BRL, other dirt series like the late model series and that kind of thing. Proudfoot putting in a couple of good runs near the end of last season. Looking down that list, we see last season's defending champion Bobby Rafferty coming home right behind him, and Steven Spies, who was second place last year. So a lot of the heavy hitters who we're used to seeing coming up and being popular once again.
All right, on board Steven Spies right now as he takes to the track, goes through turns 3 and 4, taking the low line, trying to see what will work out for him. And he's alongside the defending champion just to his right-hand side, as you see there, just peeking in the frame for just a few seconds. That is the 77 of Bobby Rafferty up top. He's trying the outside lane, and Spies looks like he might be actually a number 7 machine actually this season by the looks of that. So a little bit of a change for Bobby Rafferty. Actually, correction, he's always been number 7, so at least on dirt. So Rafferty going around the top side, as Spies as well opted to the top side. Everyone trying to figure out what line will work for them.
Yeah, and you could see it and you could hear it a little bit there from Spies working down on that low line. What makes that difficult around Eldora is just how wide and how high banked these corners are. As if you try to take the car down on the low line, you're going to have to use the brake a little bit to get the car rotated. You're going to have to be feathering the throttle a little bit more. You try to run that high line, well, you don't really have to send the car into a full-on slide as we're used to seeing in dirt racing. It's a little bit more flat out. You can pretty much keep the pedal down the entire way, so you are going to be taking a longer distance around the track, but your speeds are going to be higher. As you see here, the guys working their way around. You see Brandon Myers making that momentum on the high line work here in practice. Going to try for a little over-under there, cutting off Steven Spies as we go around.
Again, this could be a little bit of a preview to see, well, this of course is a preview of what we could see during the race, but well, not only that, but as well as the heats and the B-man, as Spies is just on top of that back bumper, and he'll go around the top side as Myers continues to run the inside lane in that number 25 and goes right back to the middle lane actually. So it's a lot of different lines being worked in by these drivers.
And so, yeah, we're going to now jump over to, I believe, the session points, if I'm not mistaken, from last season. You can see it right there. Bobby Rafferty taking home a commanding lead with 719 points. Behind him, Steven Spies coming home with the Devil's number of 666. Third place was John Hine last year. Justin Morton behind him, and Chris Davis coming home in 5th.
And that was the second championship for Bobby Rafferty, at least on the dirt. Last time, well, aside from last season, he also won in season 2 of 2017. So Rafferty he's not really a stranger to having a championship here on the dirt street stock, and he has ended that drought just over 3 years later. So great to see Rafferty back on top as defending champion. Now we'll see if anyone can knock him off of this pedestal for this season, or if he'll dominate once again, as we have 1 minute left in warm-up.
Well, as it looks right now, Brandon Proudfoot may be the prime candidate to do so, coming home about a 10th ahead of Bobby Rafferty. Steven Spees just behind him, about a half a tenth back. I think this is going to be a pretty close qualifying field as we look over this, and the top 11 separated by just over a second.
And while we have the chance in between, let us remind you that, well, this season and this race, of course, is brought to you by now two sponsorships. First one, as per usual, is the Cruise Shop, which has been in operation since 1986. They are a team of highly experienced travel agents that serve a huge passion for travel. They specialize in cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, Disney and family travel, groups, honeymoons, and weddings. They would love the opportunity to help you plan your next vacation, and you can give them a call today at 260-755-6125, or you can visit thecruiseshopfw.com. The Cruise Shop is dedicated to fulfilling their clients' dreams one destination at a time. As the warm-up wraps up, and we'll get to the secondary sponsorship in just a couple of moments. Actually, right now, while we do still have time, and that is, of course, Jim Beaver Esports joining on for the season. And all these heat races are brought to you by Jim Beaver Esports, the official esports team of Jim Beaver, and the general tire down and dirty shepherd by Polaris Razor. Follow the team at jimbeaveresports.com or on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to keep up with their drivers in iRacing World Championships, private leagues, and more. As we see Bobby Rafferty wasting absolutely no time to take off to his first qualifying lap, DJ.
That's right, Rafferty working his way around here, starting to push that car, going to try that low line off the top. I think in single car traffic it may be successful for him, but we'll have to see how it shakes out over time. Working down on that low line, coming from high to low, really trying to get all the grip he can out of this track. It is a fresh track. It will reset at certain points during the race, but Rafferty jumping up there, and his time a 20.034, getting beaten by Aiden Young, it looks like, who is just a hundredth above him.
An exact 100th of a second above as everyone else puts in their lap times. We see the 77 of Andrew Fry currently sitting appropriately enough now in 8th place, as he was originally in 7th place position. So it is a lot to see how everyone will be shuffling out throughout this qualifying session, as Fry is slowly dropping down the order as he'll put in his second lap time, as we currently see Aiden Young coming around to wrap up his final lap time. Does he improve is the question, and the answer is a resounding no by the looks of it, about 0.5 of a second.
Yeah, couldn't just get it in there. As you now see, that's Ron Snyder making his way around, currently sitting on a 20.179. He's going to come across the line unable to improve, running a 20.4 there. It looks like this track's slowing down a little bit, those opening laps being the way to go.
We'll see if that will be the way to go, as Steven Spees now goes to start his first qualifying time. That is his outlap time, as you see across. So Spees going to be trying to challenge and put himself into the top 10, or of course maybe even the podium positions here in the qualifying session.
That's right. Looking at here, remember that you are going to have inverted qualifying, so going as fast as possible may not be the best way around for you. But there you see Spees coming across the line, trying to get it in there. Not all that fast for him. A little bit surprising, back with the 20.26. Jumping on board here with Brandon Proudfoot, who's at the top of the order, going to try to put in a faster time. Unable to improve it, but still an impressive 20.023.
That's by 1,000th of a second faster as Spees wraps up his qualifying run, 0.2 of a second slower, as Brendan Proudfoot will be the second to last driver to put his time up on the board. Does he improve is going to be the question to answer tonight, and that answer is once again a no, slower by 0.2 of a second, as we see now J.R. Shepard just wrapping up his lap time, as he's going to sit in the 5th place position. I believe last up now will be Kenny Kibbe momentarily, as Proudfoot will come around to wrap up his qualifying run. And he is faster at the start-finish line, although not by too much. A 20.007, interestingly enough, as Spees as well tries to improve on his lap time. He does so with a 20.128.
Good for Spees there, but not good enough. He's going to be in a better position for the heat races, and that's obviously where everything's going to be decided. As we watch here, Kenny Kibbe, slightly updated livery from last year, working his way around the track. And there's J.R. Shepard pulling down low, but back with Kibbe. He's sitting at a 20.084. Going to try to improve that here. Coming across the line, he's the last one unable to improve. Kibbe going to be, that is going to be 5th overall. That's going to put him in a 2nd place spot for one of the heats.
And 1 minute left in qualifying as everyone has wrapped up their lap times. Jason Menda, unfortunately, coming across some issues of his own side. So we'll see if he's able to get back in time for the feature event, or at least the B main. That's something to wait and see in the meantime, as well, we see this beautiful shot here of Eldora Speedway as the sun sets in the background and the lights are active around the track. So now it's just a matter of waiting and seeing where everybody will sort out for the heat races, DJ.
That's right. It's going to be a good time to see the heat race. And if you remember, the top 3 from these heat races will automatically advance to the feature race. They will be the ones to move on. Everybody else will have to be relegated to the B main. Now, because we have 20 cars exactly here tonight, there isn't going to be any bumping. Everybody's going to be able to make the B main, but it will decide where you qualify. And as we've seen time and time again in these dirt street stock races with the Bootleg Racing Series, starting back in the field is a one-way ticket to danger. It's a one-way ticket to an accident, so you got to be careful when you do it.
Well, at the moment, 3 heat races are on tap. Correction, 4 heat races are on tap, and this will be the first of 4. And this will be the very first one, of course, with Brendan Proudfoot starting in first place position. Kenny Kibbe will start second. Chris Davis third. Jeff Sharp fourth. And Cody Castleman will start in 5th place. So a 5-car field here, DJ. And, well, the thing is, with the invert going on, the question is, would you rather want to start in the front or the back?
Well, obviously, I'd like to start in the front because I'm competitive and I want to see my car up at the top of the list there. But at the same time, coming around here, starting in the back may be interesting. As we saw during qualifying and in practice, these multiple lines can work in well. So if I'm in the back, I may just be able to see where everything lies out, kind of hold it back a little bit, and just kind of play a little bit of a waiting game.
That waiting game will very much play into advantage of pretty much anybody and everybody, depending on, well, what your strategy is for the night. Usually that would help out, at least in the case of having more than 20 drivers. At least I'd like to think so, is that in that situation of a drivers, we have 2 pace laps here. So pace truck will pull in this time by after crossing the start finish line. 1 pace lap remains. In my opinion, I'd say, well, that'd be a good thing to wait just a little bit, especially if there's going to be many other drivers trying to go for that position right away, and maybe you get lucky enough to get even a couple more positions if there is an accident right in front of you.
Exactly. That's half the thing about dirt, is just being patient around these corners, waiting to see where the line develops, and just accident avoidance is key.
We'll see how key the start is here for the 22 of Brendan Proudfoot. He'll bring the field to the green flag, and well, it's going to be dirt racing once again here at Eldora. The green flag flies Proudfoot off and away just like that. It's immediately side by side between Davies and Kibbe, as well as Sharp and Castleman.
And you see Kibbe there trying that high line, making it work, rubs the edge there a little bit, but he's going to keep on that high line. Proudfoot just pulling away. Behind him, Jeff Sharp trying to keep high the entire time. Kibbe maybe trying to dive down low here, doing an over-under move. He may be forced to take the low line. Let's see how it handle out for him.
And right now, it seems to be handling just well enough, at least to stay on the inside of the 07, but Kibbe just not having enough momentum on the inside right now, unfortunately, although he is trying to stick with the 07, just coming almost door to door across the front straightaway. And well, very, very quickly, we're seeing the laps tick down. 8 lap heats for this session, and well, just every other session as well, as Davis is doing a great job at defending, but Sharp is stuck up on the top side with almost nowhere to go.
Sharp really starting to take advantage, though, of Kibbe's lack of momentum off of those corners. He just can't get it by, as we're seeing the high line, the way to go here early. And looking back here in the backward cam, you can see Sharp just trying to ply his way forward. Kibbe being forced to take that low line. And here comes Sharp, maybe trying to take a look down the inside of Kibbe. He may try to make a little bit of a run, and indeed he does. But Kibbe's going to have a little bit more momentum as they cross the start-finish. but it looks like here comes a bit of a slide job from Jeff Sharp. Not going to be able to make it stick, but just close enough, and Kenny Kibbe back on the assault here.
That inside lane not worn in enough for anyone to make a very, at least not a great momentous run, at least enough for a slide job. It's enough to get alongside somebody, but not too much, as we are now at 3 laps to go, as Proudfoot has pretty much pulled away, as we see now. And that fastest lap coming across at 20.172, near contact between Kibbe and Davis off of turn number 2.
Kibbe just trying to work his way up to that high line a little bit more, maybe trying to go for a better angle as they come through, not working, but here he comes. He's going to keep trying that low line, keep trying to make it work, get the power down, but as they come out of the corner, Chris Davis has the momentum, able to put just a little bit more of an advantage on Kibbe, and here comes Jeff Sharp trying that super high line, trying to keep momentum down the main straight as they come here to the white flag.
Final lap this time, Proudfoot already just making his way off turn number 2, as Sharp is just in the outside wall, barely a little bit, as Kibbe and Davis continue to battle behind the 22 of Proudfoot. It will be, well, of course, Brandon Proudfoot immediately advancing into the heat, and with an outside pass, it could be Jeff Sharp getting into the transfer spot, but unfortunately, it will not be so, as Davis got second, Kibbe got third, and Jeff Sharp tried to stick it into the middle to get third place, but unfortunately that was not enough at the end, and Cody Castleman will round out the top 5. And well, already just like that, heat race number 2 is up next. DJ, walk us through the starting grid.
Well, starting right up front, we have Aiden Young. Behind him, Justin Morton. Daniel Vought's going to be starting on the inside of row 2, and then Daniel Segola is going to be the man lining up P4, and in P5, that is going to be Andrew Fry, and excuse me, that's Joe Segala, my mistake. He's going to be lining up P4, Andrew Fry lining up P5.
And right now, the pace car going to be making its way around once again. Pace truck getting in a lot of work, at least so far tonight, but luckily no cautions as of yet. And well, if one does come out this heat or in the next heat, you can blame me for the commentator's crew, as Aiden Young goes up for the outside lane this time. So with 1 lap to go in pacing, Young chooses the outside, and well, after watching the first heat, I'm not surprised considering that the inside hasn't worn in yet.
Exactly. You saw Brandon Proudfoot really taking that outside line to the high advantage that he could, and I think that's going to be the way to go here as we go forward. Seeing these 5 guys line up, I have to put my money here on Aiden Young. I think taking that high line, he's going to try to do a Brandon Proudfoot and pull away.
We'll see if that does prove successful for the 69 of Aiden Young. The 9 of Morton on the inside lane. As the pace truck pulls off into pit road, Aiden Young gets going. Green flag flies once again here at Eldora for the second of 4 heat races tonight. And just like that, everyone relatively single file, but Justin Morton starts to hang on the inside lane. He's not letting that lead go easily, but unfortunately, he stubbornly moves right back into the outside lane as Segala pokes to the inside off of turn number 4.
Segala trying to make that lower lane work, but we just keep seeing Justin Morton keeping that momentum up on the outside. Everybody lining up one by one here. A little bit of a fan out as they come through turns 1 and 2 back onto the backstretch. No real change. This is certainly starting to spread out here. Justin Morton maybe trying to take a little bit of a look towards Aiden Young, but still about a 0.4 of a second gap ahead, so nothing to be working on right now.
Right now, that top 5 is very, of course, spread out like you mentioned, DJ. And, well, right now, everyone's just running in the top side now. No one's running in that lower line as of yet, although Morton is running at least about half a lane lower, but nothing too detrimental, at least to try and get a slide job. And right when I say that, I think that's what he's trying to do on the entry of turn number 1, but you see it's just not enough momentum there on the inside. The inside lane just doesn't have enough just yet, although if more drivers start to run that, we maybe could be seeing that by the end of the B main.
Exactly, and what's going to be interesting here with everybody running the B lane now, the way that they reset this track and, send the virtual water trucks back out is that they will reset after the B main, and with everybody running high, that may push the cushion up a little bit on the track and change some lines here. As here we see, you can see him there in front of you, diving down low, Justin Morton trying that slide job again, not working, but who's this? It's Daniel Vaught trying to make a move on Joe Segala here, and once again, unable to get around that high line, as it is just the fastest way around this Eldora track right now.
A great onboard shot from Andrew Fry, sitting back watching this all happen as continuing to try and make a slide job to the inside. It's Justin Morton with 2 laps to go, but it might not be enough as of yet. What do you think, DJ?
I don't think so. I haven't seen anything from this race yet to prove that anybody's going to try it, and I think Morton's just a little too far back to make anything work. Daniel Vaught, as you see him on screen here, trying to go low, trying to force something, maybe force a mistake out of Joe Segala, but just not able to get the momentum coming out of the corner to make anything work, as we have taken the white flag with Aiden Young on your screen, leading everybody home with 1 to go.
And half a lap to go as they make their way down into 3 and 4. A huge dive from Justin Morton to the inside, trying to make it stick, but it will not be enough as he just slides up off the corner. It will be Aiden Young, Justin Morton, and Joe Segala in P1, 2, and 3. Daniel Vaught will be in 4th and 5th place. Andrew Fry, they will be making their way into the B main event.
Frustrating run there from both Vaught and from everybody else, trying to make everything work on that low side. It's just the high side, the only way to take this track right now.
And heat race number 3 of 4 is up next with Bobby Rafferty starting in 1st. 2nd place is going to be Bobby Hayes. And 3rd place will be the 25 of Brendan Myers, with John Hines starting in 4th, and 5th place being rounded out by John Wilson.
Interesting here that Rafferty choosing that inside line, a little bit different than we saw from Aiden Young in the last race. I think Rafferty just hoping that that lower line's going to have a little bit more grip, as the top line maybe rubbering up a little bit more, harder to run away. So we'll have to see if he's going to make this alternate decision work for him here.
Let's see if he even decides to stay on the inside lane, as he still does have at least a little bit more time to make that decision, but looks like he'll choose to stay right on that bottom lane. He knows he can get away right on that main start. So we'll see what happens here with, well, it's essentially the row of Bobby, with Bobby Rafferty and Bobby Hayes 1st and 2nd, both the 7 and 13 respectively on that front row. And, well, right now it's just a matter of waiting and watching the previous heats for the drivers in the 4th heat. Well, that's something to really look out for, seeing these heat races and how everyone will be taking to each portion of the track. We've seen 2 different races so far. Will we see a 3rd different race in the form of heat race number 3 as the pace truck gets ready to pull off? And it does so. Rafferty takes the field all the way as high as possible, and he'll dive it down and mash the gas as we're green flag racing here at Eldora for heat race number 3 to set the B main, as Brendan Myers is trying already to make a move on the inside lane.
Myers able to do what nobody else is able to do at this point, get that inside lane to work for him. And who's this dive and low? That's John Hine trying to make that bit of a slide job line work, and he successfully does it, making that's Myers running to the back of him a little bit there. And here comes, I believe that's Bobby Hayes also trying to make some things work on the inside. We've got a little more action in this heat, and I love it.
Oh, Hayes makes contact, slides, and saves it, and he'll actually opt for the inside lane unintentionally, of course. Slide jobs the 2 of John Wilson, who crosses over back down to the inside, and they'll drag race for that 4th place position across the start-finish line, as Wilson will look to move to the inside lane, try to get whatever momentum possible, but nothing as of yet. As well, in the meantime, Bobby Rafferty has been running away with this. John Hine running the inside, Myers running the top side, and so far it's still a battle between Hayes and Wilson.
That is the interesting battle on track, and kudos here to Bobby Rafferty. He was able to really get that car nice and planted straight and just floor it coming out of turn 4 to really get the most out of his start. Obviously, leader controls the field here once the pace truck has pulled in, and you can see Rafferty here just running that top line, trying to build as much of a gap as humanly possible back to John Hine and Brendan Myers, both of whom are trying to run that high line behind him, and Rafferty's just got the edge here, it looks like.
And that looks to be so. Same with John Hine just having the edge on Brendan Myers. Hine able to run in that low groove, so it's a little bit of a split between this field. A few drivers willing to run the inside lane, one of them being John Hine and, well, John Wilson. But, well, Brendan Myers, Bobby Rafferty, and Bobby Hayes are the drivers that are thinking, well, I'd rather think the top side works out as we come to 2 laps to go at the start-finish line.
Exactly, why question something that's been working so well? But here comes Brendan Myers trying to make a move on the inside. Still that momentum not enough for him. is we just continue to see this high line right in that cushion. That is the way to go, and you can start to see it there as that cushion has started to push up the track a little bit more. Now that'll make it a little bit easier for these drivers on this banking as they get higher on it to be able to keep the speeds on, but at the same time, as they put it down, you can see there with Bobby Rafferty, 1 lap to go, just how close it's getting to the wall.
Yeah, and at some point you're going to be hitting the wall, just like Hine does in the background. But he's able to hang on to second for now. Through turns 3 and 4 for the 7 of Bobby Rafferty. And you see how close in that onboard shot it is. Rafferty will advance to the feature. Same with John Hine in second. In third place is Brendan Myers. As Bobby Hayes and John Wilson will be racing it out in the B main to figure out the rest of their starting positions into the feature event. And finally, it will be heat race number 4 with, well, what would be 5 drivers if Menda was here, but unfortunately it will be 4 drivers. So in theory, one kind of does go home, but well, everyone will make it regardless. And DJ, what's the starting grid?
Well, the starting grid leading them off here is going to be the number 98 car of J.R. Shepard, followed by Steven Spies. Then behind him, Robbie Robinson and Jason Menda. So those 4 taking it. This is going to be a bit of a heartbreaker. Only one guy to go home. That's gonna have to hurt if you end up being that 4th place car.
Yeah, that's going to definitely hurt. But well, that's more in the retrospect, at least, of if it would be more than 20 cars, but at the same time, well, it's less than that, so everyone will be guaranteed a entry spot. And well, going into the B main, it's to see where everyone else sorts out into the feature event. GR Shepard will look to stay on the inside lane, just like Bobby Rafferty does, so lane choice will be very, very critical going into the feature event.
It will indeed, and I think Shepard hoping to do just what Rafferty was able to do and just get the best angle coming out of turn 4 as we here come into 3, 1 to go at the, or it will be green at the line. It's going to be another great heat race with just these 4 cars, I have to imagine.
And we'll see how these drivers will take to this track, if there will be a definite 50-50 split. A great start by J.R. Shepard. He's immediately down in the way as the green flag flies once again here. And well, just as quickly as he got away, Steven Spies catches up on the inside lane of turn number 1 as they drag race off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway into 3.
Spies trying to make that low line work here. He comes in for a slide job. I think he's going to get it just high enough to make Shepard back off, and indeed he almost does. Shepard able to keep that momentum going on the outside line. Spies really just trying to work that low line, get his car up in front of Shepard as much as possible. Shepard now trying back for the over-under as Spies does have the lead, but Shepard has the momentum diving into 3.
Both drivers of both rows that they start and continue to battle out for their respective positions as it's continuously side by side throughout this field, and Shepard just barely caught the left rear quarter panel of Steven Spies as everyone just about sorts it out. J.R. Shepard, I don't think, however, is quite done just yet. He enters turns 3 and 4 with about a quarter of the car length between his front bumper and the back bumper of the 55. At this point, just riding it out, maybe seeing what happens here and what the differences will be with pacing. So right on board, look in the back there to see Robbie Robinson just hit the outside wall a little bit, but he's able to hang on to it.
He's able to keep going and keep Ron Snyder behind him. I think J.R. Shepard just trying to game some things out. You see him slightly taking a slightly lower line there, maybe just trying to see if there's a little bit more grip down the track. And now he takes a slightly higher line, letting the car kick out, but get a better exit on the edge of the corner there, but still just able to keep that advantage ahead for Spies, really driving a good race here and keeping Shepard behind him.
Ron Snyder doing a great job, not using the direct inside lane, however, just running the lane a little bit lower than Robinson directly in front of him, trying to see if there's anything there that'll work out. Trying to actually looks to be down in the corner, having a low exit. At the moment, not working out too much, but there's always a chance that could be worked in later on in this event. 2 laps to go at the start-finish line as Spies continues to just about run away with the lead, but he's still within slide job range from J.R. Shepard.
And interesting there, Spies diving down to a little bit of a lower line there, and it really worked for him. Able to pull about a car length advantage away from J.R. Shepard, starting to run a little bit low. Spies recognizing where the track's starting to rubber in. That's going to help him as they come across the line for 1 to go.
Speed's actually doing the same thing that Snyder is doing, having a low entry, except he's moving up mid-corner. So we'll see if Shepard can challenge for the lead. A great exit so far off turn number 2. He'll try and move down to the inside lane on turns 3 and 4 as we come to the checkered flag for the 4th and final heat race. It's going to be a side-by-side drag race across the start-finish line. It is Steven Spies by half a car length, with J.R. Shepard finishing 2nd. 3rd place is going to be Robbie Robinson, Robbie Robinson, and Ron Snyder will move on into the B main.
Absolutely the best kind of dirt race finish you could imagine. Somebody going low, somebody trying to keep that momentum going high. Great race from Spies and Shepard there. Really, really good battle, and hopefully a sign of what's to come here in the B main.
And we'll see what exactly is to come here in the B main, as we have a 7-car field here for tonight. Jeff Sharp will start in 1st place. Daniel Vaught will start 2nd. 3rd place is going to be Bobby Hayes. Ron Snyder will round out the first half of the field, DJ.
Coming home behind him is going to be Cody Castleman in the number 86. Lining up in 6th place is going to be Andrew Fry, and bringing up the back of the field, the number 2, John Wilson, in that lovely yellow car.
Jason Mendo would start in the 8th place position, but unfortunately it looks like that today is just not his day, and he will not be able to race for tonight, as unfortunately the issues have plagued him to the point where he's unable to get back into the virtual track. So unfortunately it looks like he'll be watching from the virtual stands instead. Jeff Sharp not making a move up to the outside lane, so it looks like a few more drivers now are getting more and more confident that the inside lane is the way to start.
At least off the start, yes, and I think that really has to do with being able to position the car as the best way to get the power down, get it nice and straight. You're not going to have the wheel turned at all if you're on the inside, but we'll have to see what these guys can do and what Jeff Sharp is able to do from that inside lane.
Exactly, we'll see what Sharp is able to do from that inside lane, as he'll be waiting for the pace truck to pull off and give control of the field of the 19, who immediately goes down and away. Green flag flies here at Eldora for the 12-lap B main, and it's going to be a great start by Jeff Sharp, and side by side behind him as well, pretty much everybody else. That's a huge contact in the background. Daniel Vaught, unfortunately, had a great entry at turn number 1, but a terrible exit of turn number 2. But luckily with these cars, you can still make your way back up even with that significant damage, unless you broke the steering suspension. Battle for 2nd on turn 1.
Battle for 2nd as you see Ron Snyder really making a good dive there on Bobby Hayes. Behind him, Cody Castleman getting a little bit of that wall. It looks like Daniel Vaught is able to keep going, so no major steering issues in that car despite his best pinball wizard impression. As we see here, Bobby Hayes running that low to high line, and here comes that's Ron Snyder and Bobby. Oh, little crossover coming back over, and that is Snyder able to get a front of Bobby Hayes on that crossover. Good move from him, as now Hayes is going to try the slide job. We'll see what happens here as they come across the line with 4 laps into this race.
I think Hayes is trying to say, well, what you can do, I can do better. But unfortunately, if they're turns 3 and 4, well, turns 3 and 4 were not too forgiving, just like 1 and 2 were for Ron Snyder for that crossover. So again, everybody here will be making it into the feature event. It's just a matter of seeing where everybody will get sorted out here in this 12-lap event. Next up, we have a 5-minute warm-up, so a little bit of a rest for everybody if they do need one. As Cody Castleman is in the outside wall in turns 1 and 2, but he's able to keep going, and that's the one thing that I personally love about these cars, is that you can pretty much hit the wall as much as you want, and well, provided you don't have skirt damage, you can still continue on and still gain positions.
And as we've seen a couple of times, for whatever reason, and it defies physics, that you can hit the wall and actually get going a little bit faster if just pieces of bodywork fly off. I'll never understand it, but it is a thing. As you see behind Cody Castleman there, John Wilson trying to make that low line work a little bit more. He looks like he's able to get it. We're going to jump on board with John now. You can just see Cody Castleman on the outside. One of the best parts about dirt racing is that you just have to hear it. You can hear the guy to your outside. You may never ever see him. And Castleman right now still able to keep that momentum going up on the outside lane, but John Wilson not making it easy for him.
Yeah, both these drivers are even on their respective lines, and right when I say that's going to be Wilson just barely edging out Castleman at the start-finish line that time by about a quarter of a car length. So just getting a little bit better and better running in that inside lane is John Wilson. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that number 2 trying to run in that inside lane a little bit more. And that means as well, Bobby Hayes is starting to fall back a little bit on the outside lane as Jeff Sharp and Ron Snyder continue to run away with first and second place.
1, 2 do look pretty set in stone, but behind him, everybody going Noah's Ark style through the corners, just 2 by 2 as they now come down into 3 and 4. That's once again Wilson and Vaught running that low line with Hayes and Castleman running the high line. Wilson able to get by Castleman pretty consistently here and able to work now on Bobby Hayes trying to fight for that 3rd place position.
As that fight for 3rd place continues to brew on, I think we might be actually in the fight for 1st place here in these final 2 laps because Snyder has continuously closed the gap between himself and Jeff Sharp. Last time by the start-finish line was about a 10th of a second in advantage going to the 29 of Ron Snyder. You see it there at the bottom of your screen, that difference there just for a few moments. And well, there goes Ron Snyder through the corners of 3 and 4, following the tire tracks of Jeff Sharp as we have 1 lap to go at the start-finish line. Looks like a little bit of a slower exit for Snyder.
Snyder, who has been able to get the power down a little bit better, but it looks like now, unless he throws an absolute Hail Mary here, Sharp is going to be the one to win this race as they dive down into 3 and 4. Snyder going for a little bit of that Hail Mary, maybe hoping to throw a slide job, doesn't have quite the distance, and that's going to be Sharp across the line with Snyder in 2nd.
And it's going to be a side-by-side race between 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th coming into the final portions. And, well, that was Bobby Hayes, John Wilson, Daniel Vaught, Cody Castleman in that order from 3rd to 6th. 7th place, of course, is still Andrew Front. He will make it in and round out that 19th place position on the grid. And now it's a 5-minute warm-up session here now under the lights for everyone to get acquainted with the current track surface.
Exactly, and this 5-minute session, if you we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the track does reset. So all of that rubber that's been laid in is wiped away. It's like the virtual water trucks have come out and done everything and made it nice and pretty. So these drivers are going to have to relearn where everything is. And if these heats and B-mains have proved us anything, it's going to be the high line is going to be the way to go at the top and maybe a little bit in. I'm going to be predicting that probably around lap 20 or so, we will see the low line really starting to work.
I was actually about to bring that up as well, is that I believe we're at heat 3 is when we started to see relatively single file racing throughout the entirety of the field. So just about, thinking off the top of my head here, maybe just by about the 2nd half of the race, we could be seeing a few drivers start to move that inside lane a little bit more because the heats, well, they are run on the same surface as the previous heats. So heat 1, heat 2, heat 3, and heat 4 have pretty much all worn it down respectively. So by heat 4, you're running on a very, very worn surface, about 32 laps worth, 24 laps worth of a worn surface. And they just have 8 laps more to run that in. So again, about halfway, we should be seeing that inside lane just start to come in.
Should make for a very interesting 2nd half of this race as we're going around now seeing everybody. Brendan Myers leading the field, as is with Steven Spees and John Hine right behind him. J.R. Shefford and Brandon Proudfoot rounding out your top 5. Not a lot of surprises there in that top, so it'll certainly make for a good race coming into the heat. I have to ask you, who you liking for this first race win?
So far for this first race win, as well as of the season, it's a contest quite literally between Bobby Rafferty as well as Brendan Proudfoot, because those two are incredibly dominant in their own respectives. And now, well, we see them start to show down here in the dirt street stocks. We saw how they compared in solo lap times in qualifying, where double checking right now, Bobby Rafferty had a 20.034. Brendan Proudfoot had a 20.007, so not a 10th of a second faster, not staggeringly faster, but just enough for Proudfoot to get in that first place position in qualifying. But there's also Aiden Young in 2nd.
I think all 3 are certainly in contention here. I also think with as aggressive as we saw the start from Steven Spees, he certainly has to be somebody to keep in contention here. Obviously coming home last year in that bridesmaid position in the championship, he's going to be hungry to try to get a win and get one more place up this year.
We'll see. Aiden Young as well could be the surprise for this season as well, considering that he's up there with Proudfoot as well as Rafferty. Spears as well could also be a little bit of an upset. He's been very, very close many times in many of these seasons, and he's no stranger to finishing within the top 5 as we continue to see the track surface just slowly winding down a little bit more lap by lap.
It is, and you can see a little bit of dirt just kind of accumulating in that middle groove. It's going to make things interesting, especially in the opening laps or any lap of restarts until that starts to go away. Very difficult to get a lot of good traction there. You basically want to try to run your car up against the edge of that gray stuff. So that's going to limit the area that these drivers can go. With that being on the middle line, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a couple of courageous souls trying to drive down onto that low line early. But we shall have to see, as ever with dirt track racing, you never know what this track is going to throw up, and it can change lap to lap.
We'll see how much that track surface changes within these next few laps, as well as within the rest of this feature event. Just under half a minute, well, getting there at least to about half a minute, as well. Brendan Myers on top of the warm-up standings, so he's starting in 11th, and he's up top in, again, the warm-up standings. Something to keep an eye on for later in the race, maybe, DJ.
If he's figured out a little bit of this track, he may be a hard charger to come up through the field, so certainly one to watch. He's going to be that number 25 car trying to come his way through. I think for the most part, a lot of the fast guys are exactly where you'd expect them to be, right at the pointy end of the field up front. But I think the ones behind to watch, Brendan Myers is the number 1 to watch.
Well, we'll see who will be number 1 at the end of this event. But first off, we have to see who's starting number 1 and, well, through 19 as well in the starting grid for this feature event. Starting off in the first place position with your starting grid here for the feature event, it's going to be the number 1 machine, number 22 machine of Brendan Proudfoot, starting off in the first place position. Aiden Young will start second. Third place is Bobby Rafferty. Fourth place will be Steven Spees. And fifth place is going to be rounded out by Chris Davis. Sixth place will be Justin Morton. Seventh place is John Hine. Eighth is going to be J.R. Shepard. And rounding out the top 10 is Joe Segalo.
Starting off 11th is going to be that one to watch for the hard charge. That is Brendan Myers. In 12th, Robbie Robinson, followed by Jeff Sharp and Ron Snyder in 13th and 14th, respectively. Bobby Hayes starting off in 15th with John Wilson in 16th. Daniel Vaught in 17th. The 86 of Cody Castleman going to be starting off tonight's feature race from the 18th spot, and bringing up the last row, that's going to be Andrew Fry, all by his lonesome self. But this is going to be one for the ages. Eldora is not known for producing boring racing, so this is certainly going to be one to watch all the way through.
They're definitely not boring in presentation as well, as you see the massive amount of fireworks there on the outside on the back straightaway of this Big E racing circuit. So Brendan Proudfoot looks to be staying on the inside lane for this main start, and is giving the pace truck a lot of space actually heading into these opening 40 laps. And we'll see how tonight goes, especially with the 22 getting almost challenged actually by, well, the 69 of Aiden Young and the 7 of Bobby Rafferty as they slowly make their way off turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Well, Jim Beaver Esports brought you the heat racing for tonight, and the Cruise Shop will bring you tonight's racing, an entire event in general. And Brendan Proudfoot is going to bring the field to the green flag. Pace truck pulls off, gives control to the 22, and it will be green flag racing. A great start from Brendan Proudfoot here at Eldora, the first race of season number 5 of the Dirt Street Stock Series presented by the Bootleg Racing League is underway. And just like that, Proudfoot is away. Rafferty trying to challenge on the inside down the back straightaway.
Aiden Young getting a little bit gobbled up there, ran into the wall, coming out of 2, running into that high line again and hitting the wall once again, but not completely putting him out of the race, as that is going to put, however, Steven Spees into third place ahead, and Spees really the only one running that low line to effect. And I think as they come out of 2 now, it looks like he may just have it. He does indeed over Aiden Young, and he's making a look at Bobby Rafferty.
Speed's challenging on the inside as quickly as possible. Young continues to run that top side as Brandon Proudfoot continues to just, well, run his own race at this point. Speed's trying to challenge continuously again. And unfortunately, through turns 1 and 2, it will not be as forgiving. At the moment, fastest lap going to Brendan Proudfoot in that number 22. But Speeds and Rafferty are relatively even. Both of them want that same line, and somebody's going to have to give at some point. But Speeds wants that second place position.
He's really going for it here. I thought they were going to bang wheels coming into 3 and 4. As you see here, them both diving down to that low line. Here comes Aiden Young on the outside. I thought he had the momentum there, but just a little more contact with the wall is going to prevent him from doing so. Is down to the inside. That's Chris Davis in the 07 doing a little bit of a slide job on Aiden Young. Not able to pull it off. Speed's now going to go a little bit onto the high side. He's going to make contact with the wall. Davis still trying to work it down low. This is some really good action here with only 5 laps down at Eldora.
The 07 of Chris Davis passing Aiden Young on the inside. He makes a little bit more contact with the outside wall, and unfortunately for Aiden Young, the outside lane not working out too well to start. Aiden Young, remember, started second place, but has now gotten shuffled to was just about 5th or 6th place, depending on where John Hine sorts out. Well, I think that wall just sorted out for Aiden Young and John Hine, both of them respectively. And, well, if you're wondering where your favorite driver is, you can check them out at GSRC.tv. You can see where your favorite driver is in case we miss anything. But in the meantime, though, it's a 4-car battle as 3 drivers are in the wall on the outside.
Everybody getting real familiar and friendly with that outside wall, but everybody keeping clean and no yellows thrown just yet. You're seeing a couple of cars starting to dive low, try that slide job out. I think that's Justin Morton in the number 9 trying to come out to the outside of John Hine. Now we're seeing Bobby Rafferty starting to close in a little bit there, more contact with the wall, but Rafferty starting to close in on Brandon Proudfoot, the first threat to his lead we've had all race.
Right on board Bobby Rafferty. You see how much he's working that wheel, and look at that, just rotating a pure 180 degrees consistently, trying to hang on to it. And right now, as you see, he's just running in those same tire tracks as the battle continues back for about that 4th place position. Everyone's scrambling now 5th place as John Hine moves up to 4th, and it's a huge scramble of whoever goes wherever, with Justin Morton and Chris Davis now side by side. In the end of that, they make a little bit of contact. Davis forced to the inside. He'll try a slide jump up to the outside, gets into the outside wall. Morton comes over with a crossover, and he will be successful off turn number 2.
Really making it look almost easy there from all of these guys. John Hine obviously really one of the adept drivers at riding the wall there up in the 71. You can see him. He'll brunch the wall a little bit, just keep it going, keeping it pushing forward. And it has thus far got him up to 4th place. Is behind him, that's Justin Morton and Chris Davis continuing the side-by-side. Chris Davis in the 07 trying a really good slide job there. That's going to be Morton trying for the over-under. They're going to touch coming down the main straight. They're going to be side-by-side, and now it's going to be Morton on the inside trying to make it work, get out in front of Chris Davis, but Davis having none of it, keeping that momentum going, diving down to the inside. These two just trading slide jobs back and forth into 1 and 3. Great racing from the two of them.
Yeah, by the way, this is also a battle for 5th place. You think they'd be battling for the lead, even with Aiden Young trying to get his home piece on this. He'll make it 3 wide on the entry to turn number 1. Morton stuck in the middle, and the 07 of Davis is up on the outside lane. And just like that, it sorts out with Justin Morton out in front. So a great job by everybody to keep it together. Great battling, and somehow, well, that's still for 5th place, as everyone else is a single file from 1st through 4th. Aiden Young still just trying to redeem himself, trying to get back to the inside lane, but it's not going to be enough as of yet, as the 07 is not letting that 5th place go without a fight.
No, he's not. He's making that outside lane and riding that wall pretty well to make it work. And you're seeing there Aiden Young able to make the low line work relatively well, but just getting pinched at the exit, having to force to back out of it a little bit. And down there, super low, that is the 25 of Brennan Myers, really trying to make that ultra low lane work out for him. It's been able to let him catch up to the field, but he hasn't really been able to make the moves, just not able to get the traction out of 4 that he needs. As you see here, that's going to be Chris Davis. Oh, big hit there from Davis. I think that's going to let Morton maybe start to get him down the straight. Yes, it is. It's going to cut off the momentum just enough to give Morton the position, but as Morton dives down to the inside and Davis goes outside, Morton able to pull a little bit of a slide job on nobody and secure that 5th place position on lap 17.
Now, this is a good thing that we have GSRC.TV, so you can see where the front four are running in this case, as Davis tried a slide job in 1 and 2, but was unsuccessful, backed out of it. He'll try it again this time, and the entry to 3 and 4. Justin Morton runs up on the top side, as you see the difference between the front four and everybody else going off of turn number 4. And Young tries the incredibly low lane, a ultra low lane, as DJ had put it. And, well, Young is just absolutely not getting anywhere except on the inside lane. He's still going forward, which is definitely something, and he's trying to battle it out. He's just even with everyone else's speed right now. And, well, the 9 will prove successful. I think he may have gotten himself out of this battle for now. And, of course, right when I say that, he hits the outside wall just a little bit, but luckily doesn't lose too much speed with that cushion.
No, Morton able to keep going, but who's that coming on the outside? Why, that's the one and only JR Shepard starting to make a push here on that outside lane. Whoo! I thought that was Kenny Kibbe going completely sideways there behind him. Is Shepard now dives down to the inside of Chris Davis. You thought there was going to be a little bit of contact there. There wasn't. It's going to see who has the momentum. It looks like it's going to be on the side of JR Shepard going into 3. He's going to go up on that slide job line. That's going to make Chris Davis have to duck down low for the over-under, and Davis able to hold on to that position crossing the line on lap 21.
Well, 20 laps complete, 20 laps to go as Proudfoot and Rafferty continue to run first and second. Speed is third. Fourth is John Hyde as we check in on your leaders as the top 5 continue to battle. And this is the difference between the two. As you see, well, Brendan Proudfoot continuing to just trade faster and faster lap times than Bobby Rafferty, sometimes by about 0.2 of a second, especially the last time by at the start-finish line. So speed sitting in a world of his own, and same goes for the 71 of John Hine as they continue to run 3rd and 4th place. It looks like the battle for 5th has just about settled out, although not for long, with Justin Morton leading the group. And right back to the inside goes Chris Davis, and even JR Shepard trying to go even more inside to the inside lane. But unfortunately, well, it's just not going to work for the time being. And around this time is when I thought the inside lane would be coming in. Well, I was proved incredibly wrong by the entire rest of the field.
And 9 times out of 10, these drivers are going to know more than we will ever know in the commentary booth. As you see here, Aiden Young trying to claw his way back up to his original starting position. He obviously being down 5 spots from his start in P2. Just sticking right on the bumper there. Chris Davis trying to make something happen, and that's Kenny Kibbe, a name we haven't mentioned a whole lot today, trying to make that low line work. As you see here, everybody just fanning out, trying to find that grip. As you were watching Brendan Proudfoot there, you could see him running the high line through 3 and 4 and desperately trying to find grip through 1 and 2. So it looks like that there's still that high line is the way to go through 3, and it's anybody's game is to figure out the fast way to get through 1 and 2.
Brendan Myers did figure it out in warm-up, but of course the track has been vigorously worn in since then as he makes contact and spins around in turns 1 and 2, and that will be just enough to bring up the caution. The 25 of Brendan Myers, well, that is, well, there's the commentator's curse twice over now that I mentioned that, as we'll go to your GSRC replay here on the entry to turn number 1, watching the 25 of Myers, goes into the corner and just hits the 14 of Kibbe. Nothing wrong with that. It does happen every once in a while, so a quick caution for a quick spin here at Eldora, DJ.
As my father would say, that's dirt track racing. It just looks like he had a little bit too much speed coming through, was able to keep it maintained relatively well, backed off enough to try to keep himself away from the car. And honestly, when you are 28 laps into a feature race like this, the amount of rubber put down into that groove, it's going to change lap to lap, and sometimes you never know what's going to happen. So absolutely nobody at fault there, just an unfortunate spin.
And there's nothing like that sinking feeling you get where you just start to slide up and then you realize I have way too much speed, and you try to very carefully at least back off from hitting the guy behind you, or at least hope you hit the guy, or beside you rather, and well, you hope you just barely tap the person beside you and neither of you go spinning. And well, luckily no harm, no foul. It's just that small bit of contact there, as this looks like it could be just about a looking at once again about 12-lap shootout coming to the restart. Correction, 11-lap shootout coming to the restart. Brendan Proudfoot chooses the inside lane here, and that checks everybody back up once again, puts Bobby Rafferty in line, same with John Hine, even Steven Spees, even Ed Young up on the top side.
This is going to make for an amazing restart here with this shootout. Going to bunch the field up, and it may be the first challenge we've seen all day to Brandon Proudfoot as the pace truck dives in and we're ready to take the green.
And there it is. Green flag flies, and it's out once again. Proudfoot with a great restart to the inside lane, and he'll immediately pull away. And that's going to put Steven Spees, well, I was going to say to the inside Bobby Rafferty. And it's going to put Bobby Rafferty to the back bumper of Brandon Proudfoot. Everyone collecting the outside wall in turn number 2. Spees tries the inside lane as both the 7 and the 22 just brush with the outside wall in turns 3 and 4. 10 laps to go this time by.
Good moves from Spees there. I thought he may have had the momentum to run to the back. As there you see Brandon Proudfoot, and behind him, John Hine making contact with the wall. That's going to give a chance for Bobby Rafferty to maybe make a run here down low line into one. That's going to be a slide job. Is Proudfoot going to be able to counter? It looks like he is. They are going to be side by side, though, as they cross the line. That is going to be the first lap of this feature that Brandon Proudfoot has not led, with Bobby Rafferty taking P1 honors on lap 31.
And he's still looking to challenge it. He'll try a slide job again, even though he was side by side. He's thinking, well, might as well solidify it as Proudfoot tries to cross over to the inside lane. We could be seeing this for the rest of the night. That time by was Brandon Proudfoot leading that lap. And Steven Spees is going to try his hand in, is going to put his hand in now, and we'll see what happens here. As John Hine could also be involved in this. We could have a 4-car battle. Well, we are having a 4-car battle. Spees tries a slide job of his own on Brandon Proudfoot, slides this against the driver's side door in turns 3 and 4, and well, this time by with 7 laps to go, it's Steven Spees and Bobby Rafferty battling now for 2nd place.
Really good line there from Spees, just perfect application of power coming down on that high line. I think he's going to try to dive down low here as they fan out pretty much wide coming through this 3 and 4 corner. And that's John Hine starting to poke his nose in the middle. No contact. Great driving from all 4. They're going to be side by side for 3rd place between Rafferty and Hine as they fan out once again. That's Rafferty diving down to the low line. That's going to give Hine a chance to go to the outside. But as these 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place keep fighting, that lets Proudfoot slightly eke this out just a little bit more, give him a little bit more of advantage as they come across the line with 5 to go.
Brandon Proudfoot's running the top side just that little bit better. Well, right when I said that, never mind. Now Steven Spees is going to be running that top side just a little bit better. I was going to say, was Brandon Proudfoot with that cushion? He's able to recover off turn number 2, but just a little bit too close to the outside wall. And you see here from the back bumper, now Spees is just in the tire tracks. He's not having his right rear tire on that cushion. It's the 55, but a 55 may know something that we don't, and I would not be surprised with 4 laps to go. Spees tried a little peek to the inside through turns 1 and 2. Nothing doing as of yet.
Nothing doing at all. As you see there, Proudfoot going back to that outside line through 3 and 4, is that seems to be the preferred way to go through those final 2 corners, is through 1, everybody trying the low line, and there goes, that's Bobby Rafferty taking that ultra low line. It's going to work out a little bit. He's going to be right by side with John Hine. He's going to do it again through 3 and 4, just hunting down that grip, trying to find absolutely anything. I think this may work out, as John Hine may get bottlenecked a little bit. Nope, he's going to be able to pull it out just across the line, but it is close between 2nd through 4th here.
2 laps to go, 1.5 now as we come across onto the back straightaway. And well, 3rd place continues to be battled out between both John Hine and Bobby Rafferty. Justin Morton could be joining this as well, but the white flag will be shown to the 22 of Brandon Proudfoot. And how will this final lap go is going to be the question as Steven Spees tries a little bit of an inside lane maneuver. It will not work from that far back. Down the back straightaway for the final time, and for the first time tonight, Brandon Proudfoot takes to the very inside lane. Slide job is absolutely nobody, but he wants to secure that lead, and it will be Brandon Proudfoot winning the first race of the Bootleg Racing League Series, Dirt Street Stock Series here for this race at Eldora. Great finish and a great run by everybody after a quick caution. Steven Spees and John Hine running out the rest of that top 3. But a great job to Brandon Proudfoot after leading 39 of 40 laps.
Really just a masterclass there on how to run that high side from Brandon Proudfoot. Great racing all the way through the field. Steven Spees able to make his way up through the field a little bit. Great racing from him as well as everybody coming home. I think the real winners tonight, though, definitely the fans, because that was one heck of a race all the way across the board.
Absolutely incredible. Only one caution throughout the night. We will be right back momentarily with your post-race interviews and the unofficial results here of tonight's race. But don't go anywhere. You'll be seeing some upcoming races here on GSRC. Welcome back to Eldora Speedway. After we had an incredible run here tonight, after 40 laps, we have your top 20 drivers coming into tonight with your results. And it is Brandon Proudfoot having an incredibly dominant run, leading 39 of 40 laps. We'll get an interview with him, as well as Steven Spees and John Hine in just a couple of moments. Both of those two drivers finished second and third respectively. Bobby Rafferty finishes fourth with Justin Morton running out your fifth place position. Aiden Young finishes in sixth. Seventh place, J.R. Shepard. Eighth place is Chris Davis. Ninth place is Joe Segala. And running out your top 10 is Robbie Robinson. DJ?
Bringing the car home in 11th place, the number 19 of Jeff Sharp, followed by Kenny Kibbe and Ron Snyder. Then John Wilson, Bobby Hayes, Cody Castleman, Andrew Fry. Brennan Myers is going to be in 18th. Daniel Vaught is the last car running on the night in 19th spot, with Jason Menda obviously not making the field.
That is your unofficial finishing results here for tonight. And now we go down to the racetrack, and more specifically, Victory Lane, to interview the number 22 of Brandon Proudfoot, your race winner here tonight at Eldora. An incredible run for you, Brandon, an incredible race, a great battle with that final restart. Walk us through pretty much your night in general.
It was a really tough night, with the track being very top dominant. It was really tough to try and keep it off the wall, especially there after that restart. A little bit past halfway, the tires glassed over, and that definitely gave me issues and cost a teammate a couple spots, which I hate for him, but I toughed it out to the end, I guess.
Well, luckily you do manage to come home, and everyone does manage to come home, at least in, well, of course, forward finishing fashion. So coming into tonight, well, not rather coming into tonight, but going into next week, rather, heading into Weed Sport for the first time in this series history. What are you looking forward to for that racetrack?
Considering these are more lower powered cars, I'm looking forward to how the track progresses. In the late model sprint cars, it's even in the 358 or the Pro Division. It's slider 1 and 2, but with these cars, it's all about the momentum, and with that track, for how high banked it is, I'm not sure where it's going to slick off first. It's going to be interesting. I feel it's going to be really racy.
And it will definitely be incredible to see how the dirt street stocks will take to weed sport. And of course, before we go ahead and let you go celebrate your race win, who would you like to give a shout out or give your thanks to for that race win here tonight?
General Tire for the primary, Prolers RZR, Vision Whale, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, JSP XTV Axles, Gibson Performance, Acronis, 07 Design, Sant Racing Fabrication, Motorsport Drop, Chris Leone, League, Cruise Shop, my team, Jim Beaver Esports, and for you guys doing the broadcast. Friends, family here at the house, everybody.
Oh, thank you for your time and having us interview you, and we hope to see you and talk to you again next week.
10-4, thanks for having me.
Now, standing by with the second place finisher is going to be DJ Clark.
Steven, coming home P2, looks like he never really had quite enough to get up to Brandon Proudfoot today, but put in one heck of a performance. How was it out there, my friend?
That was a little bit tiring after that restart. A heck of a lot of fun though. I just don't quite have the talent that Brandon and probably Bobby both have, and I think John was actually faster than me running that wall there at the end. But I had track position and just was enough to keep it there with a lot of hard racing amongst the four of us. That was really fun.
Yeah, I can tell you it was absolutely fantastic to watch. We heard Brandon talk a little bit about just how top dominant the track was. Were you able to find anything happening on the low side, or was it just absolutely top or go home?
Yeah, it was pretty much top or go home. I think I dipped down there, kind of ran middle to bottom for a full lap, and I was 2 or 3 tenths slower. And on tracks on dirt, 2 or 3 tenths is just puts you out in left field. So I was trying to run that very top wall line, but like I said, I'd run out of talent and I'd bang off the wall too much and lose speed. So kind of running a little bit of a slider line was faster for me. I never would have caught those two if we hadn't had the caution. So, lucky for me, I was starting on the outside after that caution and was able to just put it up there and make something happen. So really happy with second place coming out of here.
Well, congratulations from all of us on it. Next week, we're headed to the new kid on the block, Weed Sports. Do you think that's going to be an equalizer, or do you think Brandon may be able to run away with it? How do you think it's going to play out?
Oh, I imagine all season we're going to be looking at the back of Brandon and Bobby's cars. That's kind of how it went the last half of last year once Brandon joined. Don't take anything away from them. They're both awesome drivers. The rest of us have to get a little bit better to keep up. So we'll see how Weed Sport goes. I haven't run it in a street stock, so I'll probably have to make sure I take some laps this week at some point and see how it goes. I'm pretty happy with it running a late model, which is the only car I think I've done there and enjoy it. So it takes some driving, so it should be a good time.
Well, I know we're excited to see it. Before we let you go, Steven, anybody you need to thank tonight?
Yep, we need to thank the cruise shop. Obviously, we have the logo on the car, and as well as coming back as a series sponsor. And then again, thanks to Jim Beaver Esports for coming back on as a sponsor. So hopefully we keep putting on good shows for everybody, and they go in turn and support those sponsors.
Well, thank you, Steven. And once again, congratulations on the second place. We will see you next week. And I believe Gary is with our third place driver right now, John Hine.
And standing here with the number 71 machine of John Hine, started 7th and manages to get his way up into that third place position. And John Hine, congratulations on your third place. Go walk us through this entire night that you've dealt with, because if I do recall correctly, and I'm just going to be double checking, you had to deal with a little bit of a warning track in heat race number 3.
Yeah, I sure did. Driver tried to sabotage the night by qualifying 15th, and I put myself in a real big hole there, and was able to get up to second and follow Bobby there for in the heat race, and then got in the feature, and it was just a matter of being careful, picking my way through there, and I was able to do that, and Yeah, I think I was right there with the first two guys in front of me. I just kind of ran out of time to see if I could do anything with them. I had gotten around Steven earlier in the race, and after we got around Bobby, I just didn't have enough time to set him up and give it another go.
And of course, with that one and only caution we had in the feature event, with that restart as well, what's going through your mind? Were you thinking to run the inside lane as much as possible, or just run the top side and see what happens?
I was on the inside, and I even asked Steven if he wanted to switch spots and have a spot back. I was a little worried, but I was able to get to the top. The four of us got a pretty good jump on the other guys behind us. So it left a spot open up there behind Steven, and I didn't waste any time getting up there. And once Bobby tried the low side on Brandon, and it didn't work out for him, Steve and I were able to drive right around on the outside of him.
Before we go ahead and let you go, actually, just a quick question, of course, to get your thoughts on Weed Sports Speedway heading into next week. Anything that you've decided to plan for?
You know what? Patience, patience, patience. We'll run a sprint car race there later tonight. That track is not a wide open track like Eldora. Turn one there is tight, and it's just a little bit of an odd angle that you go in there, and how the corner kind of fades away coming out of the corner. So you're going to do something different. We're all going to have to do something a little different than what we do most every other week, because it's just not a perfect, it's not a traditional oval. But hopefully we can have another week like this. We put two Gambler Motorsports cars here in the top three with Steven and I, and hopefully we can continue to do that.
Well, before we go ahead and let you go, one that you like to give your thanks to or shout out for your third place finish here tonight.
Yeah, first and foremost, I debuted a new wrap tonight on the car, the 71. If anybody out there thought that looked good, get on Facebook, go look up at Epsilon Sprint Wraps, and go see Preston, and he'll set you up and get you looking real good on the track. And then also I want to thank Brenna over at the cruise shop. Without her, we've been able to do a lot of things here, and I've taken a lot of trips with her help and things like that. So I wanted to give a shout out to her and give a shout out to my wife, and thank you guys for making us look good with all the good camera angles and good commentary, and makes our show exciting. And everybody who's watching, thank you for tuning in, and I really hope we gave you something to watch.
And thank you for your time. We hope to talk to you again next week at Weed Sport.
Yep, you guys have a good week.
Well, DJ, what an incredible race that was here for tonight. And well, it is going to be a lot as well. Everyone gave thanks of their own, and I think it's time to give thanks of our own as well. And we'd like to thank the Cruise Shop for coming on once again to be a sponsor of this. You can contact them once again at 260-755-6125 or thecruiseshopfw.com. The Cruise Shop is dedicated to fulfilling their clients' dreams one destination at a time. I'd also like to thank Jim Beaver Esports for sponsoring tonight's heat race event, and it is absolutely incredible to see them joining on as a heat event sponsor. Well, continuing on with our thanks, we'd also like to give thanks to the Bootleg Racing League for having us continue the coverage of their league with the Dirt Street Stock Series here tonight. You can see the companies as well that provide the software and hardware that allow us to do these broadcasts listed here on your screen. Additional thanks goes to June Lalonde, who provides our incredible music. If you're interested in having her provide some of her great work to you, you can contact her at the link in the description below. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races that aren't currently going by on your screen, well, you can find that at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media at Twitter, which is GSR Channel. Facebook is Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_gram. Finally, if you'd like to support the channel, well, go ahead and check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storenvy.com, gsrc.storenvy.com, or you can hit the link in the description below. Well, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and well, if the button is already gray over on YouTube, well, we're glad you're enjoying our content, and we thank you for your continued support. Next race on GSRC is in less than half an hour at Scuba 2000 Circuit with Forging Friday using the Legacy V8 Supercars. For the team today, well, co-commentator DJ Clark, director Sean Ambrose, and camera provider Dougie Beard. I've been Gary Weaver, and we thank you for tuning in to the Bootleg Racing League's first race of Season 5 of the Dirt Shoe Stock Series. As we sign off from Eldora, we hope to see you next time. Race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.